Hello, this is Sarah and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the giant paper tulip with cardstock paper. Please like this video below and subscribe to my channel. And you could also find all the supplies along with the template below the video to cut with your Cricut, Silhouette, or other cutting machines, and a print version to hand cut for those that don't have a cutting machine. With the giant flowers, I like to cut one through the cutting machine and then use it as a stencil to cut the rest. And if you are hand cutting, you can just print one version and cut the rest. We will be starting with the petals, and this will be the large size, and there will be two sections for the large size. You will need a total of 6 petals, and each petal will have a top and bottom. So cut the first 6 top and another 6 sheets of paper for the bottom. This will mean you will need a total of 12 sheets of letter size paper for this. For the medium size, you won't need a top and bottom. You can cut it all on one letter size paper, so you'll just need a total of 6 sheets of paper. For the giant size, you will need 6 sheets of 12 by 20 or bigger that can fit the size. You could also use butcher paper when you want to make the giant version of this. Back to the large size top petal, I use a water spray to spray this. This is water after I used all of the rose water. Lightly spray the paper and use a leftover PVC pipe to roll diagonally on the top and push in the rolled part to help scrunch the petal, and do this to all 4 corners on a diagonal angle to the petal. This is a technique to help curl the petals. I also have a small tulip tutorial, and for the small tulips I use a ball tool to help curl the petals, but when we're working on giant flowers we don't really have giant tools to help shape, so this would be another way to help curve it in. And the water also helps make the paper a little less stiff to help shape and manipulate, but don't over soak it. After you do this, I also like to smooth it out a little bit, but keep this rounded look for all the petals. I also like to paint one side. This will be the outer side, which will be the side you will see. And this is optional, but I wanted to have some different shades of pink. So I just used a pink cardstock paper and added gouache paint lightly on top. If you are doing this, you'll also need to color one of the bottom piece that's going to be connected to the bottom part of this petal. You could also just color both sides. It's just when you put it together, you don't really see the inside, so I just colored one side. When you are painting these, you will need to paint them and let it dry before cutting, which will be a whole process before putting these together. At the first bottom piece, then use white glue to add this floral wire and the thin strip of paper to sandwich the floral wire. Then I add an extra bottom layer. This is to just help hold the pieces together. Since we have to split this up, I felt this was the only way to work with a letter size paper without having to get bigger paper. I also have this sized for a bigger paper. If you have 12 by 20, that would be ideal. Anything smaller than this, like the medium size, felt a little too small for a flower that's about my height. If you want to make the medium ones, they could still work for maybe a shorter flower and maybe a backdrop that will have a lot more with the medium size. I'm only making 3, so it felt too empty when you make the medium size flower. Once you have all the petals ready with the floral wire, grab your coupler. If you are using a 3/4 inch PVC pipe, then you will need a 3/4 inch coupler. I personally felt like the 3/4 inch PVC pipe was a little too thick for the medium size. Maybe even the large size, it was a little too thick. Then you could size down the PVC pipe to a 1/2 inch PVC pipe. If you have a 1/2 inch PVC pipe, it means you'll need a 1/2 inch matching coupler. And whatever you decide, add your first 3 petals around the coupler. I used this green masking tape, but it doesn't really matter what color masking tape you use. And you could also use hot glue, then tape it down. Evenly add the first 3 and slightly curve out the petal and curve the top in, trying to mimic the round egg-like shape that the real tulip has. Then add your last 3 petals in between, crisscrossing the second layer. Then use green crepe paper that I'll be linking below and cut a small strip about the height of your coupler and use white glue to glue around the masking tape area. And this crepe paper will also need to match the PVC pipe as the stem. Then for the leaves, you will need a total of 4 sheets of green per leaf, and they are like triangle shapes, and attach the straight ends in a pair and then glue around the rim of the leaf, leaving just the bottom without glue. Then add the other leaf on top. You need to have an opening on the bottom. This part will be for the base of the giant paper flower so it could stand on its own, and the stem. I like to use the Rapid Set Cement All, and I haven't really experimented with other types of concrete. This one has a light gray finish and smooths on its own. Comes in a smaller box if you want to only make a couple, or a bigger bag if you want to make a lot of stands. I'll be using plastic plant saucers that you can find in the plant section as our mold, and I'm using an 8-inch size, but there are bigger sizes if you want to add multiple flowers in one base. I use duct tape to guide my 3/4 coupler of my 3/4 inch PVC pipe. That will be my stem, so that it will come apart to transport in a car. If you're using a different size PVC pipe, get the matching coupler. Add duct tape on only one end of the coupler. These will be found at Home Depot, Lowe's, or on Amazon, and I'll try my best to link all of this below the video. Make sure you are being safe and wear gloves and a mask so you don't breathe in the fine dust, and safety goggles when working with this. I used about 6 scoops of these disposable plastic cups, but I like to work in small increments. If you do a lot at a time, it is harder to mix. You will also have to be quick so it doesn't set while you mix. Then add a little bit of water as you go and mix until you get a pancake consistency. Add more concrete if you need to thicken it. Fill up until you cover just the bottom and add your coupler. I have my coupler connected with a small PVC pipe just so I could hold it on the top. Then fill up a little more until right below the coupler ends. It should take a couple hours to fully set, so while we wait for that, we will now get the stems ready with PVC pipe. I got a pan, ladle, and funnel from a thrift store that I designated for this and not use for cooking. Then you can find playground sand outside or actually buy a bag of sand. I like to have enough to fill up the pan so I could work on multiple at a time, but if you are only making one, you could just use a little more than your PVC pipe could hold. Heat it up until you feel the sand is too hot to touch. Then tape one end of the PVC pipe with duct tape, and the other side use a funnel and ladle to scoop your sand into the pipe. Then fill to the top and close it up with duct tape. And on the ground, you could shape your desired shape. This will look a little different from each flower, so shape accordingly. You could use heat gun or even a blow dryer, but I felt the heated sand gave me the most even heat without kinking the pipe. Then take the sand back out. Once you have the stems shaped and ready, you could add thicker floral wire where you want your side leaves. I like it somewhere around the middle of the stem, and tape down the leftover wire on the sides. Then to cover up the stem, I like to use this green crepe paper that I will be linking below the video, and cut a strip about 2 to 3 inches in width. Then stretch the strip and add some white glue on the end and start wrapping the stem, and add glue every so often so it doesn't unravel. When you get close to the added floral wire, just make sure to glue and carefully cover that area. Then you could add your tulip on top. These are going to be perfect backdrops for spring and Easter. I also have a bunch of giant flower templates and tutorials that could pair really well with these, and you can make them as a wedding backdrop, window display, photo op backdrop, and so much more. Please like this video below and subscribe. Thank you for watching.